Hello everyone. I have no idea if this is working, and also I can see that my camera is super zoomed in, which is really weird. I have no idea how to change that. Okay, now it seems to be better. Let's wait a few minutes for everyone to join. Hello, Felix, Tim, Faza, Kishore, and Zweispur Moped. I still don't know your real name, I think. Okay, I have a friend with me today helping me with all the question and all the chat. So I don't have to be reading all the stuff while I'm talking. I have my coffee ready. I hope you have yours too. And I do have water ready because, oh my God, there's so many questions. Very special thank you to you, Tim, for asking so many questions. I'm actually really looking forward to answer them because they're really, really cool questions. So yeah, that's nice. Jürgen, okay, I'll try to remember that. I'll definitely remember your profile picture, so please never change it because each time I see it, I know it's you. Okay, first question was not the first one that has been asked, but I decided it's going to be the first question because it's how are you doing? So I feel like that's a good first question for a live. Let me just double check if the sound is okay. And then I will close all my windows and be 100% with you guys. Okay, how I'm doing. Let's be 100% honest. I am so tired. I didn't expect to get so tired from my northern tour. It has been 4 months and a half. I think 10 more days to complete the 5 months road trip. I didn't sleep in the same place more than 3 or 4 nights in the last 5 months. And oh my God, I am so tired. But at the same time, I am so happy because this has been literally for real the best year of my life. It was absolutely perfect. The weather was perfect. I met amazing people. The landscape were absolutely stunning. The roads also. So, how I'm doing? I am so happy and so tired, but I'm not done. I still have another road trip coming up in a few days, in 4 days. Wednesday? Yeah, in 3 days, I'm going for another short road trip. I will tell you everything about it and reveal the entire thing at the end of this Q&A. Let's go for question 2. Thank you, Bob, for this question. What times are you scheduling maintenance? Because I know from whom it's coming. I'm not really happy about this question. I know I'm always late with maintenance because when you're traveling, it's so hard. The Hemi has that inconvenient of needing an oil change every 5K. And 5K is so short. 5K for me is like maybe a month or something. So I did an oil change in Switzerland just because before doing the Hemi upgrade and all the changes in the workshop. So I didn't do an oil change at that moment because it was just done. But then in the middle of Iceland, suddenly I realized I was already like 5-6K in the trip and I really needed an oil change. So I had to do it there. And this is basically the entire story of my life when it comes to maintenance. It's like never the right moment. I also really had to change the tires when I arrived in Norway. And I didn't know where to go. I didn't know any workshop. I didn't know if the tire brand I'm using was available. So it was a nightmare to know when I'm going to be where, how long it's going to take, and everything. Thanks God, I ended up finding a super nice workshop in Sweden where I had to go anyways. It was kind of a big city, and they could actually order those tires for me and receive them in a few days. So by the time I arrived there, everything was ready for me and we changed the tires. But it's always a challenge when I have to order things online to actually know where I'm going to be and even what address to give to receive the stuff. And now I am overdue with absolutely everything again. Oh my God, my brakes are completely over. My discs and my plates, the brake plates, are completely gone, non-existent. I do have to change the oil again. I also have to change the chain. I've been lubing it every morning since 2-3 weeks because it makes a horrible sound. Like you would have heard, maybe you've seen the story actually, you would have heard my bike starting every morning. Oh my God, all sort of sounds like a real little tractor breaking down. So Hitchcock Motorcycle have been amazing, and they sent me in a super fast shipping that ended up arriving before me, all the parts I need. And in it, there is the most important one I'm going to show you. If you've been following the little tractor adventures, I have my new rectifier, completely new. So that one was like the number one thing I really needed to change before my next road trip, because I was really afraid my battery might get drained again. So we're going to do all this with my dad tomorrow, and then I'm going to head to the next place. So yeah, to answer your question, at what time you're scheduling your maintenance, let's say just at 10 a.m. after the first coffee. Question number 3. What do you think, beside your motorcycle, the most useful thing you are carrying on your journey? It's a hard one, because what means useful? Like if we really think about useful, I would say my tent. It's like basic survival, or maybe I should say the food. But yeah, I think on my motorbike, the most useful thing I'm carrying is my tent, because it brings me this peace of mind that whatever happens, I have a shelter. Like if I break down, or if there is a storm, or yeah, like really whatever happens, or I'm arriving somewhere and there is no room to book anymore, everything is full, or just whatever, I have a tent, and it's a freestanding tent, so I can literally just set it up and sleep. And this is probably the most useful thing, not the most useful thing, the most peace bringer thing I have on my motorbike. The second one would probably be the jerry can with the extra fuel, because more than once I was low fuel, thinking, am I going to find a fuel station on time? But knowing I have those extra probably 70k, maybe even 100k with the 3 liters of my jerry can, I would feel so much more relaxed. So yeah, I think that extra fuel and the tent brings me a lot of peace. So I would say those are the most useful thing I'm carrying around. Question 4, from a friend that lives in the Swiss-German part of Switzerland. When are we riding together again? Oh my God, I never ride in Switzerland. It's so hard for me to just stay here and ride around. But I really do want to do a Swiss burning cow. For those who don't know what it is, long story why it's called like that, I'm not going to explain now, but it's basically a motorbike camping gathering I've been doing twice. The first time was in Sweden, and that's when it became a thing. So we did it again in Italy, and I feel like I'm Swiss and I don't know enough Swiss riders. I would love to do a gathering in Switzerland, in my home country. So maybe if the weather remains nice like this, I could organize one somewhere in the Alps in October. That would be nice. let me know, guys, if you're up for that. You don't have to be Swiss to join, you just have to be close enough to ride. So it's not really when are we going to ride again together, but it's more like when are we going to meet again. So I hope you'll be available in one of those weekends, end of September, of October, and we can actually meet. That would be really nice. Next question is, why did you start traveling and what are some of the reasons? That could be an entire live just about that. I'm going to try to make it quick. I actually started without realizing it's going to be all my life. I was maybe 13, 14 when I started kind of hating Switzerland, not understanding why society is like this, why people are so cold, so serious, why everything is so, I don't know, so yeah, so serious, so dramatic. And when you're a kid, you don't know there are other ways of living. I mean, you just grew up wherever you are and think this is life. And I was so unhappy that I still remember promising myself, I'm going to travel, explore other parts of the world, and try to find a place where I can be myself. Because I really felt like I can't be myself in Switzerland. And again, we're talking about a 16-year-old teenager in a society that is quite, yeah, quite strict and has a lot of norms. And I was not a very conventional teenager. I think we can agree on that. And now looking back, I really realize, yeah, okay, poor parents. But yeah, I think that's probably the first start of why I started traveling, is because I was very unhappy here. And probably also within me, I always had just that explorer thing. I mean, I started photography when I was maybe, like, seriously, it's like 6 or 8 years old. Like, I discovered what a camera is, and I started going out, taking picture of flowers and bees and trees and of myself and all those things. And since I'm a kid, I am very aware that there is like other parts on the planet, because we would go every summer with my parents to France, to the coast, and half of my family lives in the German part of Switzerland. So when you're a kid, you don't realize if it's the same country or another country. But basically, going to France was like a complete different weather, and there was a sea, and there was like salt water. And going to the Swiss German part was like exploring a completely different culture because the language was different. So I grew up being bilingual. So for me, the fact there were other lives and other people living differently somewhere else was like a thing since the start. And I think I just wanted to see more and more and more and more of this. So that's probably how it started, very unconsciously and very just deeply rooted in me. And now when I look back, I'm like, yeah, that's just the only thing I want to do, or I know how to do, or whatever. I guess people becoming doctors or nurses or stuff like that, they maybe also have that thing since ever. You know, when you're just born and meant to do something, you're just born like that. There was not really a moment like a before and after, like people having a normal life and suddenly they have that breaking point where they realize they want to do something else. For me, it was more like I'm just born like that, and I couldn't stop. But I know there's another question about that, so I'm not going to continue talking about it here. I'm going to wait for the next question that is somewhere on the list. Next question is, oh well, that's actually a question. I didn't know they were in the same in this order. Okay, perfect. Do you ever miss a quiet life situation without traveling around the world, around on the motorcycle? So that's the perfect question to come just after one I answered. I do miss more quiet life in the sense of slowing down a little bit. I tend to rush and want to do everything super fast, and I'm always stressed. And with the job I have now, it's like a never-ending story. You end up working 14 hours a day, 7 days a week. When you're not editing, you're writing. When you're not writing, you're filming, or everything at the same time. And it is super stressful and too much. But because of my character, I really struggle to slow down. In fact, with Yolda, for those who don't know who she is, my friend Yolda on the road, I think it has been 2 years now that every new year we decide, hey, next year we really have to slow down. Let's try to slow down, and we fail at it. So I do miss a more quiet life, or let's say a more slow travel, which I really tried to do this year, and I feel like I really made it this year to travel slower and actually enjoy each moment. But I would not want a more quiet life situation, as you seem to be asking, like without traveling. My life without traveling is like you're taking away the reason why I live, and you're taking away my passion and my only reason of being here on this planet. I It's not that I love traveling, is that it what makes me feel alive. But maybe later on I would have a few houses and I could just travel slowly from one house to another, something like that, or maybe live 3 to 6 months in one place and then change. But the only idea of staying more than 6 months or 1 year in one place is killing me. I would feel trapped. I would feel like in a prison. In fact, COVID has been really hard for me in that aspect because I was really feeling like they took life away from me. Like I had no more reason of living almost. Now, there's a last way of answering to your question. Like, would I want a life without traveling around on my motorcycle? The motorcycle part could be something I could remove because it is extremely tiring and it doesn't allow me to do everything I would like to. I would love to do more hiking, more climbing. I would love to go visit places that are very cold, or in Africa, for example, the national parks you cannot enter with the motorbike. So there are many restrictions with the bike that I would love to not have. So maybe travel again, just taking a plane and then being in some place hiking around, this kind of thing, I would absolutely love. I would love to go back to Nepal and do a 10 or 20-day hiking. So those are the type of thing I can imagine doing to be more quiet or slow, but stop traveling, no. Hell no. In fact, I'm very scared of getting old because I'm afraid at some point my body would not let me travel anymore and I would be literally stuck in my body. And that's something that really scares me a lot. But thanks God, this is still far away. So we still have about, what, 40, 50 years to travel? Let's go explore a little bit more. Next question is, how often do you really? How often do you all? How you pronounce that? Hole. I cannot even pronounce that. Sorry. How often do you hole at the moon? I'm not sure I identify as a wolf. Do you see me like a wolf? Yeah, I'm quite a loner, but am I a wolf? I always thought that I'm probably more like a cat, so probably more like a wild cat, or maybe I don't know, like a tiger or something. But I must say that not long ago in Finland, that was maybe a week ago, I went wild camping and it was quite rainy, but I couldn't sleep. And at some point, I just opened the tent to look outside and I was so surprised. First, because it was so dark. And after 4 or 5 months in Norway, Iceland, etc., I didn't actually see the dark in, yeah, 4 or 5 months. I didn't see the moon. I didn't see the dark. It was like bright daylight at 2 in the morning. So that was surprising. And there was no more rain, no more clouds. and I could see the stars. I didn't see the stars in like 6 months, probably. And oh my God, that was amazing. Such a pitch dark night with so many stars. I could have felt like a wolf at that moment. Maybe there was just the full moon missing. By the way, I think full moon is today, or was it yesterday? I'm not sure. Maybe I should try and start going to the woods more often in full moon. Next question. When are you coming back to Norway? Hey, I just left. Will there be any burning cow meetings in the future? So I kind of answered this question with the burning cow in Switzerland. I would love to do it in October. If it's too rainy, then I have to report. Another place I really, really want to do the burning cow is in Spain, because it's one of the countries I feel the most at home at. And we already talked with a friend that we could maybe do it on his land. So that would be for next year. And I really wanted to do a burning cow in north of Norway, around Lofoten or somewhere. But I was not sure of the date and timing. I thought I could do it just after meeting Yolta, and then the weather became so bad that I actually got stuck in Lofoten for an entire week because it was raining so much I couldn't leave. So I didn't do it, but I actually really, really, really wanted to do that burning cow in northern Norway. So maybe next year, I don't know. I actually already miss not just Norway, but in general, Scandinavia or the North in general. I miss it so much already. I left because of the weather, because it was getting cold, and because I do not have enough money to rent a house there for 3 months or something. But I miss it. I really would love to go back. Maybe I come back next spring or summer for a little trip. I would love to do more off-road there. I would love to ride the Tet Finland. So it would be nice to do a few more burning cows. Maybe we could organize one of those in Norway and one in Finland. That would be amazing. Thanks for that question. Next one is, what will be your next motorcycle? Do you have a dream bike? Why do you want me to give up on the little tractor? Oh my God. I hope he's not reading this because he's going to be so sad. What do you mean next motorcycle? This one has 60K. I hope I can use it till 100 or 150. I do have a dream bike, but the dream bike is not a bike that exists. That's why it's a dream. Because I can't find a bike that is better than the Himalayan, because I'm not a very tall person. So it's really hard for me to find a bike I feel safe and comfortable with traveling alone. It's not the same to have a Tenere and go ride with friends than be on your Tenere alone. There's always this fear, what if I fall and I cannot pick it up? And that's my main issue with bikes. They are just all too heavy. How many times I got stuck just like parking the bike on a campsite in the grass, and it rains, and the next morning everything is a bit synced and I cannot move the bike anymore. I cannot push it. I cannot stand next to it and push the bike. It's just so heavy. Even now that it's 20 kilos less, it's still heavy with all the bags and everything. And if I fall, depending on the situation, I'm not sure I can pick it up. Of course, on perfect, flat, dry tarmac, I can pick it up. But usually that's not when you fall. Usually you fall when it's rainy, muddy, slippery, on a slope, and all those things. And it's not that easy for me to pick it up. So the dream bike would have to be a 600cc adventure bike that weighs 150 kilos and is 800 millimeter seat height. If you ever find this bike, please let me know. I don't care how much it costs, I would buy it straight away. But it doesn't exist. It just doesn't exist. So maybe I should build it. In Switzerland, there are a lot of restrictions. You cannot modify your bike that much. So it's a bit yeah, it's a bit complicated to be Swiss and wanting to build your dream bike. But let's see. I am not convinced about the new Himalayan because, first, because it's not really a retro style anymore. So that's a bit a shame. I wish they had kept more the first Himi style, more like the real Royal Enfield vibe in their design. And second thing is it's so heavy. It's just so heavy. It's 200 kilos. It doesn't scream freedom and ease and um, peaceful mind to me. I really want to find a bike that is under 170 kilos. But then most of the bikes that are so light are not really made for long travel. It's okay to go on a trip for a week or two with a 250cc, but not the type of long trip I do. So yeah, we're still on the hunt to find the perfect dream bike, but at the moment I'm not planning to change bike. Maybe the only answer existing to the only solution existing to that problem is to actually have several bikes. That's probably why people end up having garages with a lot of bikes, right? Maybe I need a lighter bike to do short trips and off-road and a bigger bike to do longer trips. But a bike doing it all, the best I found at the moment for my body size is the Himi 411. Next question is a similar one. Would you prefer to upgrade to the Himi to the new KTM Adventure 390 with all the bell and whistles? So that kind of goes with the previous question. It's funny that you mentioned the KTM Adventure specifically because we had that conversation with a friend not long ago, another girl that is kind of the same size and body weight as me. So we have the same struggles and the same situation and the same, how you say, like the same vision of a bike, the same needs of a bike. And she was telling me she wants to try the KTM Adventure 390X, which I think it's the one you're talking about because the R is way bigger. And it sounds like a really nice bike. It is a little bit taller and the same weight as my Himi now. So the weight issue would still be the same. It's, of course, way more powerful. That would be really nice. I, in general, like the looks of KTM, but I also feel like it looks so much like a KTM that it doesn't look like it's your bike. It just looks like a KTM bike. I don't know how to explain. It's like it doesn't feel personal. I'm not sure how I could modify a KTM to make it look more retro and more personal. That's my problem. Yes, I'm a very visual person. I don't imagine myself being happy riding a bike I don't like visually. Sounds stupid, but yeah, I have to feel it. I have to love how it feels to ride it, but I also need to love how it looks. Park my bike in a beautiful landscape and think, oh, such a shame, such an ugly bike in this landscape would not work for me. And I usually don't like very much modern bikes. I really, really love the retro style. So yeah, but I'm very curious to try the KTM, even more so if they have a lower seat option. I would really love that. So that could be a new great option for me. I never had considered KTM before, but yeah, that sounds nice. Next question. Do you carry maintenance tools, tire puncture repair kit, pump, etc.? It depends where I go because I know I'm not capable to do all the fixing myself anyways. For example, the tire situation is always a big question. When I've seen in Africa how many men had to be literally jumping. I have a video of 4 guys jumping on my tires. It was a Himalayan to actually take it out. I was like, if I would be alone, stuck in the middle of nowhere trying to do this on my own, I'm not sure I could. And when you travel in a group, you usually all have those things. So you don't need to all have it. So you can like split the tools. And when I travel in Europe, the real and honest answer is I'm paying an insurance. So if something would happen, I would just call the insurance and they would fix it for me. If I would travel out of Europe, like in Africa, we had spare everything, spare tubes, spare, I think we have spare brakes. No, we didn't have spare brakes. We should have had. I don't remember what we had, but we had a lot of spare stuff. The only thing we didn't had is a pump. I don't know why, because we thought we had, because it was a loan bike, not our own bike, and we had a puncture, and we couldn't fix it because we didn't had all the tools to fix it. So we had a spare tube, but not all the tools. So that was a big fail. On this trip, I took with me repair kit and pump, with the idea that if I'm somewhere someone can help me, I at least have the material. And if I'm alone in the middle of nowhere, I can at least use the pump to fill it again and ride a few more kilometers till the next workshop or something like that. And I did not take with me the battery booster. And I wish I had, because I had a new battery. So I never thought I would need a battery booster on this trip with my new battery. But I wish I had it with me because I would have needed it twice. I had to ask a car for their cables and help me. And one time it's a guy that pushed me down a hill to make the bike start again. So yeah, I wish I had taken this. So to answer your question, I think I take the tools I feel like I could use on the trip, and it really depends on the destination. Next question is, how is your bike holding up to the traveling and the miles? So far, so good. I did 50K on this Himalayan without a single issue. Things started to break down at 55, 60K, mainly that guy. That's actually my first broken part ever on this Himalayan. I never had a flat tire. I never had a battery issue apart of this time now because of the rectifier that broke. I never had any like dramatic issue on this bike. I had a lot of small shit happening, like, yeah, small things like things breaking that you can fix very easily here and there, but never anything like really worrying. So this is really the first one, and it happened with, yeah, maybe 55K, something like that. For the rest, I have a lot of weird noises at the moment, but I want to clean the bike, change all the parts I need to change from the maintenance, and then see if all those things keep happening or not. One thing is sure, this bike is super reliable and super easy to fix if there is an issue. So it's the perfect travel bike. It's really, I feel so confident with this bike that if something breaks, we can fix it. And it's not going to cost me too much, and it's going to be easy to find the parts. So it's really, really a very recommended bike if you're going to travel far away or around the world. It's really amazing. Next question is, what would you do in an emergency if do you have a satellite phone? I do not, because I contacted them and they didn't answer. So I went on this trip with just trauma kit and my phone, knowing that I am not going in very, very, very remote places in Europe. I think we have quite good coverage. I have been maybe in 3 to 5 places where I had really zero internet and zero cell reach. But I would definitely have taken a satellite phone if I would go on a more remote trip, like, I don't know, South America or all the way to Asia or Africa or something like that. If I'm alone, I would definitely 100% need a satellite phone. Number 14. What's the most useful gadget you use and cannot be apart from, but not the coffee machine. Yeah, I'm not sure if the coffee machine is a useful gadget or just there's just a very addictive one. Um, I don't know exactly what you mean by gadget. Does my camera count as a gadget? Maybe not, but that's definitely yeah, and it's not useful, so that's a very bad answer. Um, a gadget. Okay. So if I could choose whatever, I would say the camera because it's really the one I could not travel without, but it's not a gadget. Oh, let me think. What could be the most useful gadget? I think it's also not a gadget. It's more like a toolkit or something. But I absolutely love having a water container at the back of my motorbike that I can use, like if it would be, um, how we say, like I forgot how it's called. Um, okay, let me explain it differently. It's the fact the water is placed somewhere you can use it directly, not like a bottle you have to take out and open and use like that. Also, I really, really don't like to have the water in a backpack because I don't like to wear a backpack. So having that Moscow Moto water container is absolutely amazing. I have it at the back of my bike and I can just literally just open the little zip and then have access to water. So I can brush my teeth, cook, wash my hands, do everything like hand free. It's not like a bottle you have to hold. And this is absolutely amazing. I don't think many people travel with water like that on their motorbike. I haven't seen it often. Usually people have it in their backpack. And I think it's an amazing, amazing solution. And yes, I can use it for my coffee machine. So maybe it's a bit related to coffee. I'm not sure. Question 15. How does your bike kit hold up to the rigorous of traveling? I'm not sure what you mean by bike kit. Do you mean like the upgrades I did last month? Last month in April? I have to say that I was surprised how much of a difference of riding and yeah, feeling of riding it gave me to do all those upgrades. The bike feels so much smoother and faster and lighter is really a big change. And nothing of all those new things have broken apart of the of the license plate holder which keeps breaking. I think this license plate is really mine and just wants to break free and travel because I almost lost this license plate 4 times already on the bike. Oh my god. And each time I found it back just because someone told me they found it just behind me. I was so lucky. For so many days, weeks, and months I travel alone. Each time I lost my license plate was just when I had someone behind me. That's amazing. But I'm not sure if that's your question. Maybe if that was not your question, you can just ask it again in the chat because I'm not sure what you mean by bike kit. Next question is, if you could change one thing about your adventure, what would it be? Hmm. Okay, I'm gonna be very boring. Very boring. But the first thing I thought about what I could change about my life, because my life and the adventure is the same thing. Like I don't really have a life out of my adventures. Uh, one thing I would change is just have a little bit more money. Yeah, I know it sounds super stupid, but and I'm not talking about having shit ton of money and buy 300 bikes or whatever. Just have slightly more so I could enjoy the places more without the worry of it's going to cost me money. Stay in a nice place 2 3 more nights without thinking, oh no, that's going to be 200 euros hotel, I cannot afford it, I have to leave. This kind of thoughts. And also be a little bit less stressed about work. if I have more money, I can work a little bit less, and that means I can enjoy a bit more. So it kind of joins the question from before, about the slowing down and if I would stop traveling. I just wish I could enjoy just a little bit more each place without always having to rush for the next place or to leave the place or this kind of things. So that's probably the one thing I would change, just slow travel a bit more. And it comes a lot with money situation. I do also think about wild camping more, even in places where it's not allowed, to actually save money so I can travel more. So yeah, that's probably the one thing I would love to change. Enjoy more each place. But I kind of did it this year, so I'm proud of that. My Iceland trip was meant to be 1 month, and I decided to extend it to 1 month and a half. And Norway, I thought I would cross Norway and reach North Cap in a month also. And I ended up staying there, I think 2, maybe even 3 months. So that was a very nice slow down and enjoy more the adventure. And I really want to keep doing that more in the next season. Next question is, what's your Himalayan TPS output voltage? I don't know who you are, but why would you ask this? So I had no idea what it means. I had to Google it. And after Googling it, I still have no idea what it means. So my answer is, I don't know. And I'm going to copy paste this question and go to Bob from Bob's Bike Shop and ask him if he can explain to me what the fuck this is. But thanks for asking. Now I know there is something more I can learn about mechanic. Next question is, was riding on gravel your most worrying time on a bike? No, I wish that was, but no, the worst was riding in sand and in super slippery mud in Africa. That was probably my worst moment if we're talking about riding. Like deep, slippery mud. Like imagine a wet soap that you forgot in your shower for an entire week. This was Africa. This was horrible. I would ride so slow, looking at the road in front of me, thinking, when is the next time I'm going to fall? Knowing that when I fall, I cannot pick it up because my feet would be slipping on the ground also. One time I remember the mud was like this deep, and 3 guys had to come and help me pick up the bike. So those are probably the most worrying moment on the bike. And then add to that we were 2, me and the guy, on 2 Himalayan, and my bike got a puncture. The back tire was completely flat, and we were literally in the middle of nowhere. And by nowhere, I mean no village, nothing. So he took my bike, and he rode my bike for 8 hours in the mud on a flat tire. So those are more likely to be the most worrying moments, because we had no idea when we're going to find a village with someone capable of helping us to fix the tire. And we had to sleep there in the middle of nowhere in a super random kind of village, where they just have a little house where they just sell a bit of water and a few chips and stuff for some truck drivers passing by. So we had to sleep there on the floor. And yeah, let's just say we didn't sleep much. I was worried someone might harm us or someone might steal from us. They ended up being super friendly and actually super welcoming, but I was never 100% feeling 100% like chill. And yeah, we spent the entire night there with a crazy old man from the village chanting and walking around us. I was like, I don't know, I hope he's not like a weird witch, how we say that, witchcraft man, something. I don't know, it was all super weird. So yeah, flat tire in the middle of nowhere, in the middle of the deep mud fun fact, my friend on the flat tire was still riding better than me on the bike that was with two perfect wheels. So yeah, that was probably the worst moment, and I think I still need to work on that trauma a little bit to feel less scared of off-roading. But yeah, that was the moment. I feel like I need to go back to Africa at some point to make peace with it. Next question is, do you think you might have a go at another sidecar adventure? Oh my god, we still have to finish this adventure, yes. For those who were not here, at that time, with a friend, we decided we wanted to restore a sidecar. Well, first we thought about a bike, but now we're like, we're two, let's do something crazy. We found a super old sidecar, we painted it orange, and we started fixing it. We thought it was working, and the plan was to ride it around Scotland and then make a raffle. So someone won it, but it broke down before we reached Scotland. So we never could actually really do the road trip on the sidecar, and we also never really, or I never really have seen Scotland. So there are two things there that we really want to complete. And the guy who won the sidecar is okay to lend it to us again if we want to do that road trip at some point. So it would be really nice to see if we can find some dates next summer maybe or next spring and actually complete that little road trip, that little project that is pending with Guy. That would be really nice. That would be really nice. Next question. Do you prefer riding by yourself or with a couple of friends? If I have to choose between myself and a couple of friends, myself, because couple of friends means more than one person, and that's really not my thing. I don't like to be in groups. That's why I don't go to many events and do many things. It is super tiring for me to be around multiple people at the same time. But I do like riding with one person. So it's for long trips, maybe myself on my own is the best because then I can really work and enjoy and rest, because it's really hard to be with someone and at the same time work and rest. But I do like traveling with someone because it's also nice to have company. But I'm not sure how easy it is to travel full time with someone, being 24/7 with that person for like a month or two. I did it a few times, and I think it's quite challenging because suddenly you're like married to someone. You're literally spending 24/7 with that person. So it really has to be the perfect person. I would 100% travel even an entire year with Yolta, which I feel is like really my perfect travel companion. But for the rest, I think I would need more an on-off situation. Maybe travel a few days with a person and then on my own and then again together, this kind of things. But yeah, to answer your question, I think I'm more a lone rider, and I really, really enjoy my time on my own. Next question is, have you ever got up and thought, this is too nice of a place to leave? Every day. Every day. Like, there's so many places I wish, and it's again a bit the same answer than before, where I wish I had more time and money to stay longer. I usually try to really follow that feeling and really stay longer if I feel so. There was one specific time I was wild camping in the mountain in Norway. I knew the place from last year, so I knew it's going to be nice. And in the morning, oh my God, I was so happy to be there. I just ended up spending the entire day there. So I started riding at like 6 p.m. or something like that. I spent the entire day up there in the mountain in my tent. I went for a swim in the lake. Oh, it was absolutely amazing. I loved that moment so much. It's going to be on my YouTube video because that moment, oh, it was so amazing, so beautiful. But too nice to leave, as in live there, not often, because I always want to explore more. I'm more the kind of person that would say I'm coming back and then planning on of revisiting than actually staying very long. Next question is, what chin mount are you using and why did you change it? Because I'm sure that you did. I did. I had random chin mount that Yolta was using, and I thought it was so nice that I actually took hers and bought a new one for her that I ordered on AliExpress. No, it was not AliExpress, it was Amazon. I loved it because it had the option of turning from vertical to horizontal without moving the camera. Like it was the chin that had that option, the chin mount. And then I received one from Insta360. They sent it to me with the camera. So I felt like they sent it to me as a gifted product. I have to use it. But it didn't have the turning thing, which was really annoying. But I liked the positioning of the chin mount more. It had some kind of rubber that made it very stable and nice. But the rubbers were orange, which is not my color. So that was annoying. So I ended up doing like a mix of both with my dad. We took the moving part of the first one and we put it on the orange mount of the Insta360. So I'm at the moment actually traveling with a hybrid. You cannot find it anywhere. It's not a stock thing. It's a mix of both. But if I would have to recommend one, I would recommend the Amazon one because that moving thing is absolutely game changer. Because when you're riding, you can literally just do like this with your hand and have the other filming position without having to clip, unclip, and this kind of things. And that's game changer if you're doing videos for YouTube and for Instagram and need both horizontal and vertical format. Now I have a question for you. How did you see that I changed my chin mount? Who would even notice that? Second question. Why are you using so complicated word I cannot even read? How do you carry a seemingly inexhaustible supply of coffee on that little tractor? Asking for a friend. Coffee supply is a big deal, and I plan it in advance, even more than my tire change. Because to have a good coffee, it's really hard to find an actual good coffee, even more when you travel in the north. So I bought one in Switzerland that I knew was a good one for that machine. And then I asked my friend Bob, who came to visit me to Iceland, if he could bring me the one he uses for his coffee machine, his mocha pot at home, because I knew it tastes good. So that was a lot of planning behind it. And then I ran out of coffee again when I was in Sweden. And that was a big drama because I was in the supermarket and I even asked if they had coffee for mocha pot and they didn't have. They didn't have. How is this even possible? But the girl was nice and she told me there is a coffee shop in the center that sells coffee. So I actually went there just for the coffee. I am so happy I did because it was a guy that roasts his own coffee. So he could give me the best coffee ever with all the advices and roast it and everything for me the right way. And oh my God, this coffee was so amazing. I'm still so sad it's now over. But I'm safe. I'm in Switzerland. I know which brand I can buy here. And my next trip takes me to a place that is more coffee lover. So I know I'm going to be fine there too. So to answer your question, it's a lot of planning. It's a lot of stress, but yeah, we make it work. I have a big space in my bag dedicated just to coffee. And last question from the Instagram questions. So those are the questions I knew you asked. After that, we're going to start the question I did not read so far. So that's going to be fun. What's your top GS rider story from your Scandinavia trip? If there are some GS rider here on the live, please leave the chat right now. No, because I know who asked the question. I will have to answer that, of course. The best stories are to see how much stuff GS rider carry around. I don't know. There is something special about GS riders that they carry with them the entire house or something. They literally have 5 more boxes than me, and I know they travel probably just for 2-3 weeks, and they're not working on the road, so they don't have their laptop and all the stuff with them. What on earth do you have in your bags? What on earth did you pack to need the side panniers, a top case, an extra waterproof bag on the passenger seat? What are you carrying? I don't understand. My next trip is going to be a not camping trip for a reason I will explain at the end. I feel like my bike is going to be so light. Half of my gear on the bike is dedicated to camping, like eating, sleeping, and all those things. So without this, yeah, I don't know. GS Rider could survive with just one bag. I don't know what they have in the other ones. Let me drink a little bit of coffee and water, and then I will answer your questions from the live chat. Question number 1. Will you ever ride or tour by sports bike? Nope. Not my thing at all. At all. Nope. I don't like the speed in general. I'm just not a speed person. I don't like the look of sport bikes. I don't like the position when sitting on them, riding them, like leaning forward so much. I don't like anything about them, and I'm zero attracted to them. I would rather go for like a super off-road bike or a dirt bike or scrambler. I really like scrambler. What did I say? Scrambler. I would go for any bike before going for a sport bike. I think it's really my least favorite of all bikes. Like even a Harley. I would be more a Harley person going on Road 69 than on a sport bike. So yeah, no, definitely you will never see me on a sport bike. Next question from Felix. Is it a question or is it an affirmation? The Himi drinks oil like water. It does. It really does. 5K and it's dry. Like I know I did 5K by the sound of the bike after 5.5K. Like, yeah, it really does. But it does even more in hot weather. For some reason, I feel like it's evaporating somewhere. Because now that I did the northern tour, the oil was not dry. It was so it's really something about the heat. In my tour in Spain, that was so hot, and after Italy, it was in Spain and Turkey and Greece. It was really really dry, and I had many issues with the oil disappearing from the bike. So I thought it would be the same in the north, and it actually wasn't. So I really think it's something about the heat. I don't know how and why, but yeah. Next question. Do a motorcycle wash stream next. We want to see moto in a bathtub. Okay, I actually have to go for uh, for a wash right now after this live. It's 3 p.m. At like 4 p.m. I'm gonna actually go to a car wash place for a manual wash for my bike before putting on all the new parts. So I could do a live stream on Instagram. Let's do that. Let's do that. How long have you been in Sweden? I've been in Sweden this year 3 times, but riding through. I've been from Norway to Östersund, where I did the tire change, and I stayed there a few days. So that was maybe 5 days. Then I entered Sweden again to go to. Oh no, we didn't enter Sweden. We entered Finland only. So my last time in Sweden was again a few days when I crossed from Norway to Finland, and I visited my friend Kriko from Kriko's Adventures. So, how long have you been in Sweden? Not much this year. Maybe 10 days, 2 weeks, maybe something like that. I want to do a bit more TET next year, but I think my bike is not adapted and perfect for off-roading that much. It's nice for gravel road and easy TET, but not for a proper TET trip. So let's see if I find another bike or something and I come back to Sweden next year. But last year I've been in Sweden longer. I also don't remember how long, but I've been in Sweden a little bit more. Next question. An older Tenere is not light enough. I have no idea. I'm going to Google it. 1980 Tenere weight. 156 kilos. Is that true? I don't believe it. I thought older bikes were always more heavy. And I think the Tenere has a very high seat. Yeah, 890 millimeters. If I trust just a very basic Google search, that's maybe wrong, but it's so high, I couldn't touch the ground. I need something around 800, and that's 890. So unfortunately, the problem is always the weight and the seat height. So yeah, but it's a good option to look at. I have no idea, maybe a lower seat, and I love old bikes. I was sure it was heavier. I always had this idea that older bikes were heavier. So that's a nice one to look into. Thanks for that one. Last question from the live chat. Are you sure someone wasn't stealing the oil to sell it? I'm not sure. It could be. Everything is possible. Everything is possible. Okay, that was the last question. It really made me laugh. Thanks for that. I am gonna end this live, if there are no more questions, by telling you where I'm going, as promised. I have this little project dream since last year, but we couldn't do it. I am going to Corsica and Sardinia with my dad. It's going to be so nice. We're going to go like 10 days. He was really looking forward to go to Corsica again. He went like 5-10 years ago with friends. And when I told him I was planning last year on going up through those islands, like his eyes had sparks. He was like, "Oh, I would love to go there again." I was like, "Then join me." But it didn't happen for thousands of reasons. So now we are here. We're going to prepare the bikes and we are going to Corsica and then Sardinia and then back to Italy and back to Switzerland. It's going to be, yeah, about 10 days. It's going to be mostly road ride because he doesn't do off-road at all. Maybe I can take him to some very short, easy, flat gravel roads if I find. But mostly it's going to be road rides, and it's not going to be camping because he's 75 years old. So I'm not going to make him camp. He would hate me. I asked if he wanted, and you can imagine his face. So it's going to be, for me, a very nice father and daughter ride that is going to feel like holidays because it's going to be super warm and we're going to be in nice places, small hotels, and camping huts and this kind of thing. So for me, it's going to be like super relaxing because it's not going to be like a rough adventure and like wild camping and not showering for 3 days. So that's going to be really nice, and it's going to be the perfect end of the season, right, for me, because it's getting cold in the north, so we're going to catch a little bit more of warm sun down there. I have never been. All my friends have been, so I'm so jealous. I'm so looking forward. If you have been and you have nice roads and nice spots to sleep or to ride in any of those two islands, please let me know in DMs, or maybe I'm going to do a post actually about it. I'm going to do a post, and if you have any recommendation, send them to me. I would love to hear all your tips. If you have a last question, do it now. You have 20 seconds. And if not, I'm going to go for another coffee, and I'm going to do the live stream of me washing the bike on Instagram. A promise is a promise. I'm not sure if there are more questions. I think they are not, which is perfect because my mouth needs a rest. I will read the entire chat now because I can see that you had more conversation about the bikes and everything. And there's probably very good and interesting conversation there. For example, Tim saying, my DR350 is 130 kilos. Oh, I love that bike already. So I'm going to read all your comments and all your information in the chat after finishing this. Thank you so much to all of you for joining. I am going to try to do one of those lives every month. So see you for the October one. Bye-bye. Thank you so much. Have a nice end of the Sunday.